What is going on, you guys? This is All Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you a Path of Exiles, which is also known as PoE, Beginner's Guide. And obviously, this game has been out for a few years already on PC, so there's already Beginner's Guide on that. I know, but you know what? I'm a content creator, so I gotta make these type of stuff as well. Plus, this is new to console, and many console players have probably never even heard of Path of Exiles, let alone have even played it on PC, like myself. So I thought, it would be a good idea to throw out a beginner's guide for everyone that is starting out for the first time as well. So we're gonna go ahead and go right into it. Alright, so when you start out, you're going to be able to choose any of these 7 characters. You'll be able to choose, you can basically play through all of them, but they have to have a different playthrough each time. But you have the Templar, Shadow, Marauder, Scion, Ranger, Duelist, and the Witch. And the thing that's important about each of these guys is you're going to have like this star chart of passive abilities. And these characters start in a specific spot on the star chart of the passives, or the passive chart, I guess you can call it. They start in a specific location, and that's going to allow you to choose, different passives that pretty much fit for those characters. Now, if you can technically choose a witch and then go more towards like a Marauder's, I guess, passives. It probably wouldn't be a good idea. If you wanted to go more with the Marauder's passives, you would probably want to choose the Marauder. But, that's just to save up points, because you're going to have a lot of points eventually. But if you do create a new character, you're going to be put into the challenge leagues, or the league page. And the leagues in Path of Exile represent the game worlds in that character exists in, or exists within. A single character can only belong to one league at a time, and cannot interact with characters outside that league. So, what I would highly recommend for any new players that are starting out, if you have never played this game before, I would highly recommend just going straight into synthesis. Don't worry about going into standard, because it's just by default. And it also says that these leagues, or these challenge leagues, are the ideal place to play Path of Exile in a fresh economy. You can complete challenges to win prizes. So if you like winning prizes, synthesis will more than likely be the best way to go. Hardcore is basically like hardcore Diablo, or Diablo 3 on hardcore mode. If you die, you don't get reset on here, but obviously on Diablo 3, if you died, you'd get reset, or you would basically lose all your progress on that character. But on hardcore synthesis, if you die, you get put into standard. So that means you will not be able to get any of those challenge prizes or anything. You'd just be playing the standard game. So like I said, I would recommend just playing in synthesis, especially if you're a new player. Alright, so I'm going to be talking about the star chart, or the passive chart. I keep calling it the star chart. It just looks like a star chart, but it's all passives. That's all this is. They're not abilities or anything. I'll get to that in just a little bit. But the way this works, as you can see, I chose a shadow. So the shadow is going to be located on this area. I'm not sure where any of the other classes are located, but they're more than likely, you see these not little, but the big wheels, that's where all the other classes are basically located at. So you're going to, if you choose, like let's say you chose the shadow, you're going to have to go around and choose what points you want. It's a little clunky on the console. The controllers really, I just don't like it. It seems like it gets stuck a lot, so it's not as smooth trying to choose or look around. But the thing is, when you're choosing your passives, you really need to think ahead. Like, look at all the passives. Spend at least an hour or 2 hours just looking at what you want. Or you can just look on Google and look up a build, because it is very important to know what you want ahead of time. Like as soon as you start, whether you want to go with like a necromancer build, or you want to go with a claw build, a trap build, a poison build, or a spell build, something. You have to choose. You have to choose a build right away as soon as you start, so you don't mess up, because you get, I believe, about 125 or 26 points in total. And obviously, there's more than 125 or 126 passives to choose from. So it would be important to know what you want. You're also going to have refund points too. But the thing that the way the refund points work though is it doesn't work the way I had hoped it would by resetting everything. It resets 1 point at a time. So if you mess up, and you know you messed up early on. Well, it depends on how early. If it's like way early in the story, I would just make a new character, or just keep going and then use that specific character as like I guess a training character, someone who you get just to see what you're doing and whatnot. But the refund points I would highly recommend using if you know you messed up on your build and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much everything with the passive. Like I said, you have to know what you want before you decide to apply the points, because it's gonna be it's gonna hurt you in the long run, in end game wise. I'm not even close to end game yet, but from what I've been told from friends and other players who have played PoE, that the build matters a lot, especially at end game. If you messed up, it's gonna show. Now, for your abilities, you're gonna have all these different abilities, but it's not like any other RPGs where you get to just choose your abilities from an ability tree or anything. You have these gems. Whoops. So you have all these gems. So these gems are going to be abilities and passives or supports. And the only way they work is obviously you have to find them or buy them from the vendors or other players. But these are going to allow you to have certain abilities. For example, Blink Arrow is it's a teleport type of ability, but I had to put it on my helmet or my hat so I can get this ability. Such as Haste, it's an aura. But now the ones with the chain, as you can see, it has like a little connection between the two sockets, the gem sockets. They are meant for supports, mainly meant for supports. So as you can see, this one has volley support and Mirage Archer support. Those two are connected to the Caustic Arrow. Caustic Arrow is my main ability, but it also gets these two, basically like an upgraded version of my Caustic Arrow. So I could shoot up to 3 arrows with my Caustic Arrow instead of 1, because it shoots an additional 2 arrows. And then Mirage Archer basically summons like a ghost skeleton above my head, also shooting the Caustic Arrow with 3 arrows as well. So being able to know what abilities you want and how it chains and summon and supports each other is going to be very important as well. So it is going to be a little confusing at first when you do it, but I'm hoping this explanation does help you guys out just a little bit. You know, hope you're going to have to definitely look into it a little bit more. But yeah, it's very, very simple. And another thing I would highly recommend is whenever you are going through your abilities or your sockets, not sockets, but your gems, press triangle, or I guess if you're on Xbox Y, but you want to press triangle to toggle auto level. You don't want it to continue auto leveling. And the reason why is because you see it says level 37 and 85 dexterity. So that means if I were to let it auto level and it gets to the point to where I don't have enough dexterity in order to unlock this, I will have enough because I'm mainly going dexterity and intelligence. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, if I didn't have enough dexterity to make use of this, then I'm screwed. I would not be able to use this gem at all. I think I would have to make another gem and then re-level that one up again or something like that. But yeah, you just won't be able to make use of it because of the fact that it's over what you can reach, and it's going to be very, very difficult to try and reach, especially if you get to end game. You have put all your points into your skill tree or your passive tree, and you have everything you can try to get to boost the amount of points. So make sure you do toggle the auto level. Now when it caps out, like for example, if it was 252,595 out of 252,595, just press toggle auto level again, and then it'll level up, and then press it again, and then it'll just stop it from auto leveling. But yeah, that's it for that one. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next. Alright, so up next is gonna be the waypoints. So waypoints is gonna be very important. And the reason why you're going to want to unlock all the waypoints, as many waypoints as possible at least, is because, for example, let's say I have, I guess, the Ebony Barracks unlocked, but I don't have the library unlocked or the Imperial Gardens. That means I would have to, but I need to get to the library. That means I'd have to teleport to the Ebony Barracks and then work my way through all the way to the library, rather than just being able to unlock the waypoints in general. So that right there is pretty common sense. You want to be able to unlock all the waypoints, and the way you do it is you don't just run over it, you have to run to it, press X, and then it'll unlock. So make sure you do press X. I've ran over a bunch of waypoints early on in the game thinking that they unlocked, but they didn't. So you got to make sure you press X on them. Another thing that I want to give you guys a tip on is, or I guess a tip, is the missions. So you're on the very bottom of your map, you're going to notice all of my missions on Act 1 are gray except for the Lord's Labyrinth. But these missions, they will glow yellow on your map. It'll have like a glowing yellow like spark on a specific waypoint location. That means that's where your mission is located at. Also, make sure you do read what the mission is saying. So as you can see, that question mark has that glowing yellow spark on it now, because that's where the Eternal Nightmare mission is located at. So all I would have to do is just find out where that is, and then I would just either go here, the aqueduct, or go here. Obviously I can't go there because I don't have a waypoint there, so I would have to go to the aqueduct. That is pretty much it with that one. Hopefully that helps you guys out a lot, because like I said, it took me a few hours to even realize that I can just look at my missions and figure out where I need to go. Up next is the currency. So you have a bunch of different currencies, or I guess you can call it the materials in the game. But you have currency like the Scroll of Wisdom, which is used to identify items. You're gonna have red items time to time. Well, a lot of times actually, you're gonna have red items. You're gonna want to use Scroll of Wisdom to identify them. Now, if you know you're not gonna use them, just sell them to a vendor. You can use Scroll of Wisdoms to pretty much buy almost anything in any of the vendors too, because this is the common use of currency. And then you have different things as well, like the Jeweler's Orbs and Glassblower's Bauble, Orb of Scouring. You have a bunch of different currency. Now, a lot of these are also used to upgrade your gear. As you can see, the Chaos Orb reforges a rare item with new random modifiers. But I think the Chaos Orb is what players use to trade with each other and whatnot. There's a bunch of all these other currencies. I don't know what players use to trade with each other. Like I said, I've never played on PC, so I don't know any of that yet. But from what I've heard with like my friends talking about it that have played PoE for a few years, I guess Chaos Orb is the main source of currency to trade with other players. And you also have your portal scrolls, which in my opinion I would highly recommend carrying your portal scrolls with you when you're traveling, because portal scrolls is going to help you. Like if you go out to a dungeon and there's not a dungeon, but you do the memory fragment. Memory fragments are going to tend to drop a bunch of loot. So what you could technically do is pick all that loot up, drop a portal scroll, and then it'll teleport you to the location, like one of the HUD areas. You go there, go to the vendor, sell all that, go back through the portal, because you have 10 to 15 minutes to go back into your portal. You go back into your portal, pick all that stuff up, drop another portal, and do that all the time, because you'll be able to keep getting currencies. And like I said, it's going to be very important to have all these currencies just later on in the game. You don't really need to worry about re-rolling or reforging or just any of this stuff early on, because you're going to end up replacing a lot of the gear anyways. Sometimes you probably won't replace the gear because it might have these different links and whatnot, like a 4-link, 5-link, and slots that you might need, and modifiers and all that. So you might end up keeping your gear from levels 20 to 60 or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's basically it with the currencies. And we're gonna go ahead and go on to the next part. So another really easy way of getting currency is, I would highly recommend, or I guess an easy way of getting chromatic orbs is, I would recommend going into a vendor and seeing what they're selling. If they are selling a 3-link, what I mean by 3-link is going to be the blue, green, and red items that are all linked together. You have to, if they have to be linked, they cannot be separated. If they're linked, just go ahead and buy it, and then just keep looking. And if there's nothing else, then just back out and sell the item. And this is how you get, whoops,
What's up?
This is how you end up getting a chromatic orb. As you can see, it's going to show you the items that you're going to get. And the 3 link is giving me that chromatic orb. If I decided to sell this Cautious Colossal Life Flask of Wording, it's going to give me this type of material, which is called Alteration Shards. And then having 20 of these is going to give me an Orb of Alteration. And then if I decided to, if I felt like I needed more Scrolls of Wisdom, I could technically sell all of my Portal Scrolls and get Scrolls of Wisdom. But I'm not going to do that because I need my scrolls. Now, if you already have a full stack of 40 portals, you can just sell 20 of them because you don't necessarily need more than 20, even more than 10, because you get portal scrolls very easily, and then you can just get Scroll of Wisdom very easily that way. And just go ahead and accept it, and then you have all those items. And I'm just going to go ahead and go back into my stash real quick and then put these back. And then another thing that I would like to mention is Navali. So it took me some time on figuring out what she does with the prophecies. So when you go to view your prophecies, you're gonna notice she requires all these different. She's gonna require silver coins in order to seek or seal prophecies. What prophecies basically are is it'll summon like a random, not a random, but you go to locations and then it's like a bounty hunt in a sense. You're doing these quote-unquote bounties or prophecies and you get rewarded for them. So that's kind of what I figured that it would be like. I'm not 100% sure because so far everyone that I've asked that has played PoE said that they don't really know what the prophecy is either. So hopefully someone out there that does know can correct me if I'm wrong. But what I think what the prophecies is it's basically like a bounty hunt. You get the prophecy, you have to have the silver coins, get the or seek prophecy, and then you'll be able to get rewarded for completing a prophecy. Up next is going to be the microtransaction. So I know microtransaction is not a very important thing for many players, as it doesn't really add anything special for many. But you have all these different items, but these are all cosmetics. I just want you to keep that in mind. Most of them are all cosmetics. The only ones I would recommend, like highly recommend getting, are going to be the stashes. The one I would probably end up getting is the premium quad stash. I haven't gotten it yet, but I would recommend getting this one because it's going to be very useful. And then even the map stash, pretty much all these different stashes are going to be really nice. But mainly the premium quad stash, as well as the one that gives you the extra stash tab, I suppose. I know there's one, oh, and the currency stash. So having at least those 3 would be something I would probably go with first. I didn't do that at first, because me being dumb, decided to go with all the cosmetics. I wanted to make my character look cool, which I mean you can still do, but if you are trying to figure out what is worth getting in the microtransactions, currency stash tab, premium quad stash, and extra stash tab bundles and whatnot, extra stash tabs are going to be very important to go with, because this is a looter, so you're going to have a bunch of loot, and then I don't know how many different currencies there are, but the fact that you need a bunch of currency in general is going to be important to have currency stash tabs. Alright, so the next one is going to be the memory synthesizer. So you're going to notice when you go to the waypoint, you're going to notice the 3 symbols on the side. You have your hideout, which you won't unlock it until I think it's Act 3? Act 3 or Act 2, I don't remember exactly. But you unlock the hideout after one of those. You have the menagerie, which is basically like a place where you summon an animal or summon a beast, and then you fight it and you get rewarded for it. But you have to have the beast captured first, and then you have the memory nexus. So the memory nexus is going to allow you to go to these different places. It kind of works like the Nephilim rifts in Diablo 3. First though, you have to unlock these different memory fragments or memory nexuses in just in the world in general. So you'll see like a blue crystal on your map. When you find those, just go to it, and then what I would recommend is just running through it. Don't even worry too much about the enemies. Just run through it and then collect all the parts first. Or the synthesizers. Sometimes it'll have one synthesizer you need to collect. Sometimes there might be 3 or 4. Now, and those synthesizers on the map is gonna look like this on the map. I can't really show you, but on the top right corner of my map, you're gonna notice that symbol. That's what they look like when you're actually inside of the synthesizers or the Nexus. So you're gonna do all that, and then once you have all the parts, and you're gonna get rewarded some specific items. And I don't know if I have any of them actually. Yeah, so I don't have any items that are glowing, but you're generally gonna just get items, weapons, gears, whatever, that are gonna have like a glowing speck on the item in general. What you're gonna do is you need 3 of them. You need to have 3 of those items, and then you're gonna put them in the synthesizer, and then it'll give you a more powerful item from those 3. So if it's gonna be boots, it has to be 3 boots that are all glowing, and then it'll give you 1 that is kind of like a cosmic type of boot, which is gonna be really, like I said, it's gonna be very strong, very powerful. Not obviously you're gonna end up out leveling it, so I wouldn't worry about the synthesizer at the moment. But you know, if you were just wondering how it worked, that's how it works. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and explain how the menagerie. I keep saying menagerie. I don't know if it's menagerie or menagerie, but I'm gonna explain how this one works as well. So once you collect a certain amount of beasts with the Beastmaster, after you completed the Beastmaster quest or whatever, you're gonna end up going to the Blood Altar. He does explain it in the game as well, but you're gonna notice on the Blood Altar you have create currency items, and then create unique items, and then add a mod to a flask. So as you can see, all these monsters that are grayed out means I don't have anymore. I have to go and capture them. So you have to capture these monsters in order to get any of these rewards. So if I were to do this one, I would end up getting the 8 chromatic orbs. This one, I would get 4 jeweler's orbs, an item, belt, helmet, boots, or jewel, or shield or quiver. And with those uniques, it'll be basically like these red kind of like, they're just called uniques, but they're red, or yeah, they're just red tiers or whatever, orange. I don't know what you want to. You can go with red, orange, burgundy, whatever. But that's how that one works. And then the last one is going to be your hideout. So their hideout doesn't really add anything special other than the fact that you can customize it, which is pretty neat. I like the fact that you can customize your hideout. And there's a lot of different hideouts as well. So you would end up having to go to Helena, and then you'd be able to select a hideout. So the first hideout you get is Lush Hideout, which is in Act 2. And then you'll get the sewers found in Act 3. And you have to just go around finding all these different hideouts in each act in order to unlock them. So what's cool about this though is you can customize how this area looks. So I ended up blocking this part off because, you know, I don't really care for that area. And I ended up putting my crafting bench, Helena, and my stash box close together because, you know, if I'm crafting, I need to go to my stash. I'll probably go to my stash sometimes. Or if I need to sell something, I could just go to her and sell items. But yeah, that's pretty much how the hideouts work. And there's probably a lot more in depth about it. But obviously I haven't gotten super far into it. I was able to get Navali here too, which is pretty neat. Alright, so a few hidden UIs that you probably didn't realize is in the game is you can press down on your D-pad so that way you can see your map on your screen, like in front of you, rather than looking at the top right corner and being able to do that. And also, what I would recommend in your settings is go to your map zoom and turn that one all the way to the left, because when you do that, as you can see, the map is zoomed all the way out for me, so sometimes the map in the middle gets in the way for me, so I would like to be able to see it up here. Another UI that you probably didn't know is you can hold down your left stick and you can see the amount of XP you have until your next level, so you can see the percentage. I'm at 9% in until I hit level 41. And then also if there's an item on the floor, obviously I'm not going to be able to see it because there's no items nearby, but if you press L3 as well, if you hold it down, you'll be able to see any items on the floor. So let me just go ahead and find, alright, the trunk. There's no items there. Maybe a couple ads would probably help. So as you can see, I can see these sun leather items right over here. And all these different items. But the reason why I can't see them originally is because I have my settings set to strict. So I don't see these items in general. But if I wanted to see what did fall, I can see that. And then also you have R3. So R3 allows you to change up your abilities and navigate where the skills are located at. Obviously you can just do that when you go to your skills tree, and then you can just navigate where you want to put these anyways. So you can always do that. And then another thing I want to make sure you guys know is you can also switch your classes. So you just press R2 and R3 at the same time, and then you can switch, not necessarily classes, but like, I guess, weapon builds. So if you go with a melee build, you have one side. Go with an archer build, you have the other. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I think that's everything I actually wanted to cover with this. I'm pretty sure there's other things that I may have missed, but you know, maybe someone else can add on to it, I suppose. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. If this helped you out, go and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section, as I'll try my best to answer these. And if I can't, someone else more than likely will be able to, or I'll just be able to find the answers to your questions. And I don't know if I'll be making any build videos, as it is very strict on the time and effort in making builds. And if you mess up, you can't really theorycraft too much, or you can't do trial and error unless you have a ton of refund points and time to make a new character to do all that. And I don't really, so yeah, I probably won't be doing any build videos. But that's pretty much it. Like I said with this video, if this helped you out, go and leave a like, comment, subscribe. This is all Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and enjoy the rest of your day or whatever it is that you're doing.